Everybody. Welcome back. Still in this theme of decolonizing counseling, decolonizing the behavioral health field. And I appreciate your feedback. It's really, really helpful. And I wanted to be explicit about what I mean by decolonizing. The idea of colonialism is that, starting in Europe, from what I understand, this white male heteronormative ideology went and then conquered all of this land in order to build empires in Europe and then over into the United States, to where we obliterated a lot of our Native American population and so forth. And so from colonialism, again, white male heteronormative values, and essentially going into places and countries and saying, you don't know right, we do. We know what's right. We know what your values should be. We're going to help you get established, but you're going to follow our rules, okay? And so now what I see happening is people starting to recognize that this has created terrible imbalance. This is not who people truly are. And let me give you an example of this. I've taught in Jamaica. My university has got a teaching arrangement in Jamaica. I've been there about 7 times. And beautiful people. It's a beautiful country. A lot of poverty. But what I found, I remember one of the first times I went into the classroom, and I was really wanting to find out more about Jamaica and the uniqueness of Jamaica and the indigenous, culture, and wanted to find out about Rastafarian and what is this philosophy and religion. And the vast majority of the students in my class were really not into Rastafarian. And of course they loved the music and so forth, but the philosophy and stuff, there had been so many missionaries that had come over and forced their values and ideology, probably out of fear, and probably some greed as well, because it was first a Spanish colony and then a British colony, really tying into, they've got some natural resources there, and there's sugar cane and all that stuff as well, but there's also some other metals that they can dig and find. Anyway, so it was like, wow, who the Jamaican people actually are was obliterated by people coming over, colonialism, saying, no, you are believing wrong, your traditions are wrong, we're going to teach you how to do this. This clearly happened in the United States with our Native American population. So what we're looking at now is, how have we inculcated these colonialism ideology, and how does that result in how we do therapy now? How do we do behavioral health from that? And what we're looking at, and so this can be kind of like a microcosm. Today I'm talking about decolonizing our understanding of anxiety. The most common mental health issue in the world today is anxiety disorders. So what I want to do is, let's just go in there and talk about this particularly. I'm also going to put a link to a magazine we just created at our university. It's called Intersection, the intersection of art, mental health, and social justice. Tattooing is another thing that was an indigenous practice for years that colonialism wiped out, and it's coming back. So I do think decolonizing is happening. All right, so let's look at anxiety. So first of all, there's going to be overlap between different European models as well as broader other practices from other cultures in understanding anxiety. First and foremost, when you're working with somebody with anxiety, that's a terribly uncomfortable issue to have. So we do want to provide coping skills. We do want to refer to medical professionals to check out thyroid functioning, blood sugar levels, other things that medical professionals will know to check out that can result in anxiety, and also how anxiety can affect the body. But from an existential perspective, if we were to look at existential philosophy and then therapy, anxiety can serve as a signal that our life is imbalanced, okay? Perhaps we're in the wrong relationship, the wrong career, studying the wrong things in college. that is one thing. While we're providing coping skills, while we're referring to a medical professional, we also want to help people look at these broad overriding issues, because this relates to the next thing I'm talking about, which is feminist theory. And the idea here is that if you are living in balance, you are going to experience that as depression, anxiety, and naturally you might use substances and have addictive issues as a result to self-soothe and so forth. Okay, so let me just go back and just say, yes, I want to provide help immediately for folks with anxiety, but we also want to explore, while we're doing this, ways in which the anxiety may be a signal that they're not living according to their true values. Okay. Feminist theory is saying the same thing, that the societal injustice, inequality, expectations placed, from kind of a colonized standpoint, that women are less than, and from this white male dominant, heteronormative culture that was created from colonialism, that's not who we truly are. We're far broader than that. We're far more complex than that, and that having to live according to these standards can create anxiety, depression, trauma, and addictive issues. Okay, so understanding this from a broader perspective, I would share that with clients. Hey, there's other ways of relating to anxiety, and it could be just signals that we are so far out of balance of who we truly are. Okay, and so let's look at small ways that we can move back more into an alignment. A couple other things I just like to mention all the time with anxiety. Anxiety can be hypersensitivity. I'm kind of skipping down to the bottom. The kind of narrow, what I would say colonized version of anxiety is worry. You're worried too much, you feel nervous, and so forth. And so when you look at traditional assessments for anxiety, a lot of it's focused on that worry, ruminative thoughts, intrusive thoughts, and so forth. And what I'm hoping that we will do with anxiety is broaden our perspective, that there's much more than just worry. And one of those can be hypersensitivity. Hypersensitivity to light, sound, textures. You have the clothes you're wearing, the energy or emotional debris of others. I now know in my later years here, but I still have a lot of life yet, is that being around really negative people, even if I don't know them at all, I sense that energy, I feel it, and I start to feel uncomfortable. So starting to honor that as it has been honored in other cultures, which is my next point. Understanding the social implications of anxiety and the energetic implications. I can just no longer talk about counseling and psychology without bringing in the energetic component, and that has been squelched by colonialism, but the beautiful traditions and theories that they have from Ayurvedic medicine, okay, which is rooted in India, Native American philosophies on health and wellness, Asian philosophies on energy and chakras and meridians and the connection. And I frankly, all three of these are intertwined. I am now, in teaching theories, going to start to include all three of these as a part of the theories class, because now I've given lectures on Ayurvedic, I've given lectures and even done research with chakras and so forth, and we'll have better technology to measure that. We do now than I did at the time I did the research. But starting to understand the energetic consequences that say we're in a place that's just bad vibes, a lot of negative people, a lot of judgment, that can cause us to be very anxious, maybe even panic. And yet, if we're not aware of that, and as behavioral health professionals, we're not sharing that with clients, they're going to immediately go that, oh, there's something wrong with me. And what I want to do with anxiety, and what I'm hoping you'll do, is start to share, wait a minute, this may be a lot more complex. It may be that anxiety was really more the result of some really negative, low vibration, unevolved folks that you were hanging around, or that were in that audience. I struggle doing big presentations as a result of that. And I realize because you've just got so much different energy in there. And, you know, I almost feel like I need like a lead shield as the podium so that I can kind of, you know, not be affected by some of the negative energy or just unevolved energy. It doesn't mean that it has to be ill intention. But we share this with clients so they recognize, oh, so this isn't that I've got to do more cognitive restructuring or more relaxation techniques. Yes, that can be a part of the help. But if they think it's all them, no, it can be much broader than that. Okay, proprioceptive, and you're seeing a lot of overlap with these, but proprioceptive people that are hypersensitive to their body, hyper aware of their pulse rate, of their respiration rate, of their skin temperature, and so forth. So slight changes in that create anxiety. Well, that could be a strength in some ways to be that sensitive. And yet, if we're not sharing this with clients, the idea that this could be a strength to be really tapped in and tuned in and know what's going on in our body, then we immediately go back to, oh, there's something wrong with me. My self-esteem is low. I have too much negative self-talk. Are you seeing how rigid kind of what I'm considering more of a colonialized idea of anxiety is, how narrow and rigid it is, when we could open this up and broaden it out and let clients play with this. Oh, wow, I was with this person who's really pretty peaceful and upbeat and kind of has a glow about him, and I feel really good with them. But with this person, man, I noticed I was breathing faster. So starting to help people understand the various broader aspects is a part of this. Okay, so hopefully that helped a little bit understanding what I'm talking about with this series on decolonizing behavioral health, broadening our perspective, becoming more collaborative with clients, honoring their traditions and their values, helping them peel the layers of colonialism off so they can be true to who they really are. The world's going to be a better place when we allow more people to do that, and when we can assist and help people do that, as we're doing with ourselves. Okay, as we're doing with ourselves every day. Yeah, you know, I'm born and raised in the South. I think and I'm getting woke. I'm working on being woke as a Southern educator and counselor and so forth. So help me out. Let me know comments of other things that you'd like to see with this. I'm reading a lot about it. I'm working on a paper related to all this. Please look at our Intersection magazine. It's really cool. It's free. And hopefully that'll give you a little better explanation of what we're doing. All right. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Y'all take care.